Right now, your baby's brain is doing something no computer can match. It is building itself. Every second of every waking hour, billions of neurons are firing, reaching, and connecting, forming pathways that will shape how your child thinks, feels, loves, and handles the world for the rest of their life. The raw material those pathways are built from is not a curriculum. It is not a developmental toy or a flashcard program or an enrichment class. It is the tiny, unremarkable moments of your regular Tuesday. The way you hand them a spoon, the tone you use when you're tired, the 2 seconds of eye contact before you look away. Your baby's brain is recording all of it, not passively the way a security camera records an empty hallway, but actively, hungrily, building architecture from every input it receives. Before we go on, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if you're loving this story, subscribe, because tomorrow we have something extra special waiting for you. There are 10 of these moments I want to walk you through. 10 things you are already doing, or not doing, or doing without knowing what they mean, that are being silently filed away in a brain that will carry them for decades. Number 1. The pause before you respond. Dozens of times a day, your baby does something and looks at you. Maybe they've knocked something over. Maybe they've discovered their foot exists. Maybe they've made a sound they've never made before. And in the half second before you respond, your baby is watching you with a level of focused attention most adults will never give another human being. Dr. Colwyn Trevarthen, a developmental psychologist at the University of Edinburgh, spent decades studying what he called primary intersubjectivity, the innate drive babies have to synchronize with another mind. Babies are not just reacting to you, they are anticipating you, predicting you, building an internal model of how you work. When your response comes, your baby's brain checks it against the prediction it just made. A match generates a small neural reward. The loop closes. A new piece of the model, this is how another person responds to me, gets laid down. That model, built from thousands of these moments in the first year, becomes the blueprint for how your child understands other people's minds for the rest of their life. Be in it. Let the loop close. Number 2, whether you mirror their sounds back. Your baby makes a sound, a babble, a squeal, a consonant-vowel combination they stumbled into by accident. To your baby's developing brain, it lands closer to a question. Did that do something? Is anyone out there? When you say it back, when you repeat that little sound in your voice with that warm, instinctive tone linguists call infant-directed speech, your baby's brain treats it as confirmation of something fundamental. Their sounds have power. Their voice changes things. They can reach out and receive a response. Research at MIT's Department of Brain and Cognitive Sciences, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, used brain imaging to compare infants whose caregivers frequently imitated their vocalizations versus those who did not. Infants whose sounds were mirrored back showed stronger development in Broca's area, the region most associated with language production, by 18 months. This is more than a language story. The back and forth of sound is your baby's first experience of conversation. Turn-taking, the sense that when you put something into the world, something comes back. Most parents do this instinctively. Those "oh yeah, yeah" exchanges with a 4-month-old are not goofing around. That is brain building. Number 3, the temperature of your touch. The quality of touch matters. The emotional information carried in your hands before you have said a single word. Research at the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami has documented what every parent instinctively suspects. Babies read touch the way the rest of us read tone of voice. The speed of a hand approaching, whether the grip is tentative or confident, whether the arms that lift them communicate safety or something more uncertain. A study from Oxford's Department of Experimental Psychology found that gentle stroking touch at a specific speed, about 3 to 5 centimeters per second, activates a unique nerve fiber in human skin called C-tactile afferents. These fibers send signals not just to the sensory cortex, but directly to the brain's social and emotional processing centers. There is a type of slow, warm, intentional touch your baby's nervous system was built to receive. It speaks directly to the emotional brain, not the thinking brain, not the language brain, but the ancient, deep, this is safe and I am loved brain. When you stroke their back slowly, hold their small hand without rushing, move through diaper changes with unhurried hands, you are speaking a language that goes underneath language entirely, directly into your baby's deepest sense of what it means to be held. Number 4. How you handle your own hard moments. This is not about being a perfect parent. What the research shows is far more interesting and far more forgiving than perfection. Your baby is watching you manage yourself. From the earliest months, infants do something researchers call affect monitoring, continuously observing their primary caregiver's emotional state and using that information to calibrate their own. Your baby is not just learning how you handle a hard moment, they are learning how a person handles a hard moment. You are the demonstration model. A study from the University of California at San Francisco found that mothers who verbalized their own emotional states, who said things like, "I'm a little frustrated right now, let me take a breath," had children who showed measurably stronger emotional self-regulation at age 4 compared to mothers who either suppressed their emotions visibly or express them without naming them. The absence of hard feelings is not what helps your baby develop emotional regulation. Watching you experience a hard feeling, name it, and manage it is what does it. The narrated struggle is the lesson. The deep breath in front of your baby is more valuable than the composed face you put on after taking that breath alone in the bathroom. Show them how it's done. Number 5. What happens to your face when they get something right? Watch a baby learn to do something new. Watch the exact moment they manage it, the first successful grasp, the first time a sound produces the effect they wanted, the first time they pull themselves up and stay up. Watch the baby's face. They don't celebrate, they look at you. This is called social referencing, documented in landmark research by developmental psychologist Joseph Campos in the 1980s and replicated enough times to be considered foundational. Before your baby has decided how to feel about their own accomplishment, they are checking your read on it. If your face says, "Oh my goodness, look what you did," if your eyes go wide and your smile arrives before you've consciously decided to smile, your baby receives that as data about themselves, about what they are capable of, about whether their small acts of mastery matter to anyone. Neuroscientist Mary Helen Immordino-Yang, whose work on emotion and learning at USC has shaped educational policy, describes admiration and inspiration as two of the most powerful forces in human learning. The moment someone whose opinion matters sees what you've done and their face changes, that is one of the deepest neurological rewards in the human system. Your baby is wired for it. The unguarded reaction is what gets recorded. Performance of enthusiasm is nice. The real thing is what lands. Number 6. Whether you follow where they look. Your baby is staring at something. A shadow, the edge of a curtain moving in air conditioning, a speck on the wall you cannot even see from where you're standing. You can redirect them to something more obviously stimulating, or you can follow their gaze. Follow it. Joint attention, the shared focus on the same object between a baby and caregiver, is one of the most studied phenomena in infant development. When caregivers follow the baby's attentional lead rather than directing it, 3 things happen. Language development accelerates, social cognition develops more robustly, and the brain regions associated with curiosity and intrinsic motivation show stronger development. Beyond the measurable outcomes is something more fundamental. When you follow your baby's gaze and look at what they are looking at, "Oh, you see that? Yeah, I see it too." You are telling your baby, in a language their body understands before their mind does, that their attention has value, that what they find interesting is worth finding interesting. That message, deposited across thousands of followed gazes in the first year, builds a child who trusts their own curiosity, who approaches the world as a place where their attention is a legitimate resource. Look at what they're looking at, even if it's a speck. Number 7. The texture of your ordinary conversation. The conversations your baby overhears you having with everyone else. When we talk about early language exposure, we tend to focus entirely on what is said directly to the infant, the narrating, the naming. That matters enormously. But research from the University of Oregon has added something critical: the emotional content of background speech. Conversations happening in the room, in the next room, in the car, is being processed even by sleeping infants. What it is being processed for is safety. Using EEG technology, researchers found that sleeping babies showed measurable stress responses, activation in regions associated with threat monitoring, when exposed to nearby speech carrying angry or tense emotional content. The words were irrelevant. The acoustic signature of distress in adult voices triggered the response. The emotional atmosphere of your home, the texture of ordinary conversation, the general emotional weather of the place where your baby spends their days, is information your baby's brain is continuously analyzing. Is this a safe world? This is not a call to perform false cheerfulness or to never argue. It is an invitation to notice the emotional register of ordinary moments, the way you speak to your partner when you're tired, the tone of a difficult phone call taken in the kitchen. Your baby is reading all of it. Number 8. The rituals you don't know you have. You probably have rituals you don't know you have. The sound you make unzipping their sleep sack, the words you use at bath time, the order things happen at the start and end of each day. To you, these are just how things get done. To your baby's brain, they are something far more significant. Dr. Michael Meaney's research at McGill University established something that changed the field. Predictability in the early environment is not just comforting, it is neurologically formative. Babies whose days have recognizable rhythms show lower baseline cortisol and stronger development in the prefrontal regions responsible for executive function. A brain that has learned to expect is a brain that is not spending its resources on constant vigilance. The bedtime routine that feels repetitive to you sounds like this to your baby: I know what comes next. I am safe enough here to just exist. Number 9. How long you stay after they've calmed down. You go to them when they cry, you soothe them, they calm, and then you leave. Or you stay for just a moment longer. We are talking about 30 seconds, maybe a minute. When you stay, when you don't immediately leave the moment the need is technically met, when you linger in the warmth of a calm baby just a beat longer than strictly necessary, you communicate something beyond "your cry was answered." You communicate, "I came because I wanted to." Dr. Alan Shaw at UCLA, whose work on right brain development in early infancy has influenced developmental neuroscience, psychology, and neurobiology, describes these moments of shared warmth following the resolution of distress as among the most formative experiences in the first year of life. The repair and the warmth that follows it, not just the responsiveness, builds what Shaw calls affect regulation, the capacity to move through distress and return to a state of well-being. The 30 seconds you spend holding a calm baby, not because they need it right now, but because you want to, that goes into a very important file, the file that says, "I am not only attended to when I am in distress, I am simply wanted." That file shapes how a person receives love for the rest of their life. Number 10. The last thing they feel before they fall asleep. Every single night, your baby crosses a threshold, from wakefulness into the quiet where the brain begins its most important work, consolidating everything it has experienced, filing it, making it permanent. The last thing they feel before they cross that threshold is recorded with a depth unlike almost any other moment of the day. The hypnagogic state, the transitional period between waking and sleep, is associated with unusually high activity in the limbic system, the brain's emotional core. Memory consolidation during sleep preferentially processes the most emotionally salient inputs from the day. The minutes just before sleep onset are among the most emotionally impressionable of the entire 24-hour cycle. The warmth of your body, the sound of your voice, the physical sense of safety in the last moments before consciousness fades, that is not just a nice ending to the day. That is what the sleeping brain takes with it into the night's most important work. Research from the National Scientific Council on the Developing Child identified the consistent emotional quality of early sleep transitions as one of the factors most durably associated with what they call felt safety, not the cognitive belief that one is safe, but the body level below language baseline expectation that the world is fundamentally okay. That expectation is being written right now, every night. In a dim room, a tired parent, a baby going heavy in their arms, what they feel as they go under is what the brain carries into the dark. You are the last thing it reaches for. That's our story. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, and tomorrow more stories are waiting for you. Thanks for watching.